Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Kyra if you're new here, and on this channel we do travel and lifestyle content. Today's video is going to be part of the Moving to New Zealand vlog series that I'm doing. Today we're going to talk about my experience buying a used vehicle in New Zealand. So the first thing to go over would definitely be where to buy a car. Where do you find one for sale? There's a couple options for you. By far the most popular option in my opinion is Facebook Marketplace. I found that on Facebook Marketplace that was the most activity, the most ads being posted daily, and it definitely had a lot more options than other websites. That also depends where you're located. If you're in a bigger city, you're going to have a lot more options. If you're in a smaller city, I'm kind of like a mid-sized city in Tauranga and the Mount, so my options were pretty decent, but definitely not as plentiful as Auckland or Wellington would have been. TradeMe is another good resource. It's like the Kijiji of New Zealand. It's a buy, sell, and auction website to buy practically anything you want, including used vehicles. There's other websites like Auto Trader. There's car dealerships if you have a budget for that. There's even post boards at supermarkets, super old school, but it's still definitely highly used at supermarkets and hostels for people selling things to just post it on a board, and it's very, very old school, but I find it quite charming. And of course, there's the good old car for sale on the side of the road. Definitely ask locals where there are areas in the city you're in that people tend to park their cars for sale. So find that area, check it out one day, and maybe you'll find it. You never know. By far, my favorite method for searching for a used vehicle for sale was online. I'm a millennial. I like things to be easy to research. So I found the most success using Facebook Marketplace and TradeMe. I actually purchased this vehicle from the TradeMe app. I will say a little thing to keep in mind for Facebook Marketplace versus TradeMe. There is that element of risk of a shady seller trying to just quickly sell off a bad vehicle with a lot of mechanical issues, and they will do that on Facebook because it's free to do it and you don't have to pay to list your car. Whereas with TradeMe, you do have to pay a fee to make a listing, including to list a used vehicle. So it's going to attract a more serious seller who potentially is not selling off such a shady car. Just something to keep in mind, that Facebook Marketplace is just that little bit of a sketchier, more risky way to buy a vehicle because it is free and open to anybody to make a listing. And TradeMe tends to have a lot more vehicle information as well, and just the layout is a lot more detailed in TradeMe, I personally found, so I actually enjoyed TradeMe a lot more, but there was way less options and way less listings I found within my budget. Which moves to my next point. My budget for buying a used vehicle was 2,500 New Zealand dollars. I eventually, after many weeks of looking for a vehicle, found this one on TradeMe. It was listed for 2,250 New Zealand dollars, and after meeting up with the seller, doing my pre-inspection and doing a test drive, I managed to negotiate the car for sale for 2,000 New Zealand dollars. I saved $500 within my budget, and I'm really happy that I came in under budget because who knows what may end up happening, that I need to spend that little extra money on maintenance of the vehicle or just put it towards petrol. Always remember to negotiate the price of the vehicle with the seller. Inspect the vehicle yourself. You can sometimes spot potential work that will need to be done, like replacing the tires. Keep that factor of cost in mind when you're trying to negotiate the price down. Never just pay what the seller is listing because there's always room to negotiate in New Zealand. It's not offensive to haggle on a deal for selling a vehicle, and when you in turn are trying to sell this vehicle, keep that in mind that you're probably going to get a lot of negotiation when it comes down to the price. The other thing to talk about is research. You definitely want to think about what kind of vehicle you want to buy. What are the things that you think your vehicle absolutely must have to make it work for you, and just don't sway from that because there will be another car for sale. There will be another option for you to look at. Don't settle for something you're not happy with. There is going to be something that comes along that is going to hit all of those points that you're looking for, which is what the case was for me. Also, I had no idea how to buy a used car, how to do a pre-inspection myself to try and spot things mechanically that may need to be fixed soon, and then you can point that out to the seller and say, you know what, I'm noticing such and such and this will need to be done, so I'm asking for less off the price of the car. It's really handy to have that knowledge in your belt. I did not have it at all. I don't have a friend around here that can come with me to do viewings and test drives to give me advice. I don't know any mechanics that were around me that could come with me to do viewings, so I had to do it on my own. So I literally went on YouTube and I found the best series on YouTube from a YouTuber Chrisfix. He has a 5-part series on how to buy a used car, all the way from inspection to negotiation. It's really great. I'll link it below because I really learned a lot and it helped me to have an understanding about how to inspect and things to look for in a used vehicle, because the reality of my budget was that I was looking at cars 15 to 20 years old, so there's obviously going to be work that needs to be done or hopefully has been done by the previous owner that will all factor into what you need to be looking for when you're buying the vehicle. Definitely educate yourself on what you you need to be looking out for. If you already are a mechanic or know a lot about cars, lucky you, and I'm sure you'll be able to get a much better deal than I did. Another tip is just to think about what kind of car you want. So for me, I really wanted a fuel efficient vehicle. Petrol or gasoline is super expensive here in New Zealand, so a very important factor for me was a car that was very efficient on gas. So I ended up getting a 2004 Mazda Demio. It is really good on gas, but a compromise to that, it does have a very small engine, so I had to compromise there. I have a vehicle that will take $70 to $80 to fill, but that will last me a really long time. But when I'm on the highway, I'm not going to be able to accelerate very fast because my engine is small and it's not able to handle that much power. Obviously, the other thing I was really looking for was a reliable vehicle. So when you're meeting up with the seller, ask for previous records of maintenance, servicing, what have they gotten replaced recently, if it has a timing belt in the engine, when was that last replaced. Luckily, my car is chain driven, so I don't have to worry about replacing a cam belt because that can be upwards of $1,000. So already that's not even worth the price of the vehicle. If my vehicle I bought for $2,000 and I'm needing to replace a cam belt for $1,000, that's already not worth your time. So research a bit about the vehicle. Make sure that it has a good service history, because the odds are if the previous owner was taking care of the car, it's going to be a pretty reliable vehicle. And if the owner does not have records, that can be a red flag that maybe they haven't really kept up the maintenance of the vehicle, and it's probably not the car that you want to buy. So give yourself some time. Hopefully you're not in a super huge rush to buy the vehicle. It did take me several weeks to find the one, and even then I was just thinking, am I making the right decision? But you just have to trust your gut at the end of the day. But try and give yourself as much time as possible to search for a vehicle, because it is really time consuming, especially if you're in a smaller city that doesn't have car markets like Auckland does. There's also the warrant of fitness to consider. I would definitely highly recommend you buy a vehicle that has a warrant of fitness that is still good for a couple months at least. This vehicle has a warrant of fitness for a few months until June. I have to get it done, and when that happens I'll also get it serviced. But a warrant of fitness is essentially a safetying equivalent in Canada, so just make sure that you don't have to worry about that right away, because some sellers will try sell off their vehicle with only a month left of their warrant of fitness, and then you'll have to go and do that immediately after buying. It just doesn't make sense. The other thing to keep in mind is registration of the vehicle. It's called rego more commonly as a slang word here in New Zealand, but yeah, the rego, make sure that you have a couple months left on your rego, or even like longer than that. That would be ideal. And also just make sure it's registered, period. My registration is good till May 2020 right now, and after that I'll have to purchase registration. So actually owning and maintaining a vehicle in New Zealand is quite affordable in comparison to Canada for sure. So the warrant of fitness or safetying your vehicle is going to cost you about $40, give or take, plus anything you have to fix that will help it pass the warrant, because if anything fails in the vehicle that's not going to make it road safe, you have to pay to get it done in order to get your WAF. Same thing for registration. You have to pay a yearly registration fee. You can probably do it in like 3, 6, or a year kind of time slot, but I just say just do it for the year, because even when you're trying to sell it, it's good to have rego left. And the other thing is, when you buy a vehicle, you have to notify the New Zealand Transport Authority. So it's all done online for people that have New Zealand driver's license. Make sure that the owner that's selling you the car goes online, preferably in front of you. So when I did it, the seller and I sat down with my laptop and we went in and did that all sitting next to each other, so that I knew she was transferring ownership and informing the right people that she had sold the vehicle to me. So I literally watched her do it online and do her end, and then I have to do mine, informing them that I've purchased this vehicle. So because I have an overseas license, I was not able to do that part online. I did have to find an agent of that organization to do that service for me. I had to find an AA location here in New Zealand, Automotive Association, and I was able to get that done within a couple minutes, really. So you just go in, you fill in a little form, you inform them of the license plate on the vehicle, they put it into your name, and you pay $9 to do that service. So it's very easy, very simple, and that's the benefit of buying a vehicle that is already registered. The next thing to keep in mind is car insurance. Now this was really funny to me because car insurance is mandatory in Canada. It is not mandatory in New Zealand, but I highly recommend you have car insurance. Even though my vehicle, I bought it for $2,000, which is a very low amount, I still have third-party insurance, which ensures that if I accidentally hit or damage someone else's vehicle, my insurance will cover the cost of that person's vehicle. Not mine, because realistically my car is only worth $2,000, but it's going to help to ensure I'm not out thousands of dollars trying to fix someone else's car. You never know if you will or will not have an accident, but it's always good for peace of mind to have that third-party insurance. It is really inexpensive as well. I bought a year's worth of third-party insurance on this vehicle, and it only cost me $135 from AA, and that's also with a discount discounted rate slightly because I became an AA member, which is my other tip. If you are driving around a lot in the vehicle, which is exactly what I will be doing, it's really worth it to think about becoming an AA member, which is roadside assistance. $79 for a standard membership fee for 1 year. You have access to up to 6 calls where AA will come out and help you out if your car breaks down, if you run out of gas, if you have a moment where you've locked yourself out of the car, you can call AA as a member and get them to come out and help you. I think that's really invaluable service. Even if you end up not using it, you have that peace of mind that in an emergency you will have someone there to help you get you safely out of that situation. Now I think I may do a car tour for you because I love this vehicle. She's really cute. I have named her Lil Red Rocket. It's an ironic name because she's so slow. She's not as fast as a rocket, but she does her best. I hope that this video helped you. Come, let's check out the car. This is the interior. I really think it's so tidy for its age. You can really tell a car and how it's been looked after by the interior, and clearly this lady that owned this vehicle, she owned it for 10 years and took really good care of it. I basically have a lot of things set up right now. So the radio works well. That was another thing on my wish list, and I have some accessories here to make my car work for me. So the first thing was to get a phone holder. So I have this one that plugs into the cigarette lighter, but I also needed an FM transmitter so that I was able to listen to music from my phone using an AUX cord. In addition to buying those 2 accessories, I had to buy a third accessory to hold on to these 2 things that needed to use the carport. So I got 3 accessories that make this car work for me. It has a USB, 2 additional car charging ports, and then this is like in a cup holder shape so that it fits into your cup holder. That way I can have my phone in the holder for use with GPS, as well as listening to my music off of my phone with the FM transmitter. And then there's a USB to do some charging as well. Alright, that wraps up this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more vlogs on moving to New Zealand, including helpful videos like this. And I cannot wait to have some of the most epic adventures here in Lil Red Rocket. She's just gonna do me so well, I just know it. Thanks again for watching, and happy travels. Bye!